Hello everyone. Today I'm going to cover up the second most quality which makes a person miserable, and that is anger. Okay, so what is anger? Anger is something from which we all are familiar with. Some does it daily, some on the weekly basis, or some on the monthly basis. This video is for them who does it on the daily basis, but if you are the one who rarely gets angry, still, knowledge is something which can only benefit you, as you can share it with the one who does it on the daily basis. So let's get started. After several examinations, Dr. Arely and Kennan declared that sugar, which is produced in blood due to anger, turns poisonous. It is enough to hinder the digestion process. Health examiner of Oxford University, Dr. Hammond Burke, mentioned in his report that all those students who failed, maximum of them were short-tempered. Reports of mental asylums also states that mental disorders which arises from anger eventually made maximum people mad. Dr. J. Eston says that energy which gets wasted in 15 minutes of anger can be used to do 9.5 hours of hard work. The Bible says, sleeping with anger is like sleeping with a venomous snake. The truth is, dangers of anger is literally intense in every way. The major impact this obstacle does to the body and mind makes the life completely unsuccessful. Restlessness, doubtfulness, and rage surrounds the person, and he is then hated by his near and dear ones. Home strife becomes the new normal. The famous alchemist says anger is like alcohol, which makes the person weak, thoughtless, vulnerable, and powerless as paralytic patient. Unfortunately, whosoever gets in the anger's hold, it rarely spares that person until it ruins his life. Dr. Puran Chand Khatri says, mental illness of anger is no less than any physical illness. Just like asthma, prehepatic enlargement, arthritis, etc. diseases eats people away, the same thing is done by anger. Only in few days the body of an angry person. Only in few days various types of poisons starts to form in the body of an angry person. Due to the concentration of such poisons, the components in the body starts to melt. Scientists of New York did an experiment. They took the blood sample of a person filled with rage and they transferred that blood in a rabbit's body. And only after 22 minutes, the rabbit started running after people to bite them. After 35 minutes, he started to bite himself. And after 1 hour, he died tossing his feet. The poisonous sugar produced in the blood due to anger makes the blood poisonous. Because of this impurity, face and body becomes pale yellow. Digestion gets disturbed, strain in the veins, heat in the body, and dryness takes the toll in the body. Many other symptoms like headache, dark circles, backache, intense yellow urine, and other anger-related issues happens. Day by day, the person becomes vulnerable and miserable. Anger is a dangerous snake. Whosoever pets the snake with him, only God can save them. There is an ancient saying, one who has already ignited the fire of anger in his heart, does he need a pyre? It means his body can be burnt without a pyre. Pyre means chitta in Hindi. So it is best to stay away from anger. It must be avoided as much as possible. One who's already away from it must prevent it from happening it. And who has been caught in this trap of anger must try his level best to come out of this mental state as soon as possible. The root cause of anger is lack of knowledge. When people misunderstand each other, they see things totally different from the reality. For instance, if a son denies to do what his father says, then father gets angry and thinks that his son is his treasure, his property, his servant. He must follow his orders. But when things go opposite, then the rage comes into picture. Take one more example. If suppose his wife prepared lentils instead of brinjal greens, his anger starts to blaze. How she can do that? For she has to take permission of her husband in everything. The one whom you think is of low level and sits on high cadre, then you get furious. If at home someone does something without asking you, it pisses you off. If a customer gives not so good feedback of the product of yours, then you abuses him like anything. If you worship Lord Vishnu or others worship Lord Shiva and tells he's the best, then you get mad at them. If someone else's point of view doesn't matches with yours and his thoughts differs than yours, then you start thinking him as your enemy. When the feeling of people should behave as per my will resides inside a person, then the seed of anger is sown. As little puppies are made dreadful by making them fight with one another, or when a kid becomes stubborn and starts taking undue advantage when his every wish is fulfilled. Similarly, this feeling that everything must happen according to me resides in, and over time it becomes so giant and shows itself in the form of rage, anger, aggression, even in the little things which can easily be sorted out in a calm manner. This root cause must be addressed, otherwise it's next to impossible to destroy anger, like literally. We must daily sit alone, peacefully, and introspect ourselves to know what we truly are. Who gave us the right that we rule others according to our wishes? We only have that much right as others are having. If your opinions differ, then why others don't have a right to rule you? It must be understood that I myself isn't someone's ruler. Instead, I am of the same condition as others. Society works with the factor of compromise. So, wherever the difference comes, there comes the compromise. If you have to walk with a scoundrel means a bad person. So if you have to walk with a scoundrel, then don't be like him. But it's better to compromise to work with him. Don't be mad at someone with whom your opinions don't relate to. Support his views as much as it's necessary and disagree with the rest. Everyone has a freedom of speech. One who thinks himself the leader, the head, and operates from the ego, only he gets furious and full of rage. And the one who knows his true self, why would he be mad at anyone? Similarly, when we assume ourselves right, then the frustration and anger resides in, because every time we can't be right, no? For instance, scientists does their research on a single subject their whole life. They set a goal, but if they encounter any doubt regarding the subject, they change their minds without even thinking about 20 years of hard work. Ocean of knowledge is vast and aimless. One who says, what I say is the only truth, is wandering in the darkness, like totally darkness. Pity on those who think they got more brain power than the whole world. They are stuck in mere foolishness. Everyone's point of view must be considered and analyzed. If it's getting out of your head, then leave it. Move forward, but never think everything else is a lie. Expect your opinion. There are some other solutions as well, including not considering oneself as a boss and a complete knowledgeable person. The other solutions are: number 1, take a pledge that I'll not let my enemy anger wander around me. If it happens, I'll try my level best to avoid it and control it. If possible, Write these affirmations in a piece of paper and hang it where you'll see it most frequently. Whenever the rage takes over, just remember this affirmation, and as a little punishment, pinch yourself at that very moment and remain silent for a while. Drink a glass of water. Number 2, this is number 2. Drinking a glass of cold water is an Ayurvedic remedy for it. This aids the heat in the body and the mind. A wise person once said that at whichever place the anger consumes you, go away from that place or indulge yourself in any other task. This way the mind diverts from that incident. One yogi says that start chanting Gayatri mantra in that aggressive state of mind. It is fruitful. A doctor once wrote, one must immediately go to urinate when in anger. It releases much of the heat from the body and restores it as its original form. The ones who are curious can experiment these methods to prevent this enemy, which is health hazardous. So this is the end. Thank you for listening to my Supreme Guru's advice. Share with the ones who are too mentally weak to control their minds. I mean, like, seriously, who cannot control himself is the weakest person in the world. Thank you so much.